We never build anything in a bubble. I think our biggest advantage is that we build really quickly. So in that software development world, we talk about agile development, whereas you do things very quickly, you respond to things that come up immediately and fix things, rather than planning it all ahead of time.
Welcome to Eye Opener, powered by Siemens. And now your host, Gugan Sanger.
Welcome to Trend Detection, powered by Siemens. In today's episode, we explore the redesigned dashboard, reporting capabilities, and new features such as Knowledge Builder, which has shaped the user interface over the last 18 months. On today's episode, I'm delighted to be joined by Adam Poole, who is going to be discussing this topic with me. And if you could start off by introducing yourself to our audience, that would be great.
Yep, I'm Adam Poole. I'm Product Design Manager at Senseye. I've been here for nearly 8 years now. Before that, I worked for 17 years in aerospace. So there's quite a lot of experience of all kinds of things now. And even in the last year, things have changed in the design world so much with all the Gen AI stuff that's come on board. So it's been an exciting time for us.
Amazing. So thank you so much again for joining me on today's episode. And let's get straight into this topic. So I know from a Senseye Predictive Maintenance perspective, there's been a lot of changes which have been made, a lot of advancements to the application. And I guess the first question I have is around the dashboard and the user interface. So how has that changed?
Well, it wouldn't be short to say that in the last 2 years, we've completely redesigned the whole application, like top to bottom, with the most change happened in the last year, actually. It's kind of crazy. And our pace of development is so fast. And a big part of that is having more users across many different industries, across the whole world, different nationalities, different languages to support. But there's always a common requirement for what we call like reporting. So you've got these management level people. They might use the application only a few minutes a day, but they want a quick place to see the top level things that are of interest to them, the machines that are going to break imminently, that kind of stuff. So we wanted to put something in front of them. So we put this new homepage, which is like a top level dashboard. All of that information is there for them, customizable, and they can export it, schedule email, all of that kind of stuff very quickly. And in terms of user experience, we had elements of this within the app already, but they were kind of buried.
Okay.
And one key thing of like building a better product is just like make it really simple for people. It's no good having all the features unless they're usable.
Yeah.
So if it's 3 clicks away, make it like 2 clicks away, or 1 click away, make it really straightforward. And really listen to people what people want from you as well is a good thing to do.
Okay, cool. So you touched on the topic of just making it simple and making it easier. So I can imagine you've taken into account, user feedback of the application. Just leading into my next question focused around, can you give a bit more information around what drove those changes to be made?
Sure. We never build anything in a bubble. I think our biggest advantage is that we build really quickly. So in that software development world, we talk about agile development, whereas you do things very quickly, you respond to things that come up immediately and fix things, rather than planning it all ahead of time.
Okay.
In the old days, it used to be called waterfall, where we'll plan everything, we'll design it, we'll make the whole thing ahead of time, and then we'll go and build it. And as soon as you do that, you'll find you were wrong. Or technology has changed beneath you. If we'd made plans a year ago, they would have all been wrong because this little thing called Gen AI came along and changed everything. So we do it like incrementally. We work in like 8-week cycles. And even within that kind of cycle, we might change what we're doing. So you can kind of pivot onto something different. And a big part of that is listening to what the users say. So there's lots of mechanisms for people to do that. We have teams on the ground who are talking, working in the factories with people or going to visit them very closely, and they'll be telling us exactly what they like and what they don't like. Yep. And we capture every single thing. So we've got like a register of it's probably thousands of things now. Every idea that comes in, we look at, and that forms the shape of what we build next.
Okay.
And also internally, we have a culture. We've always had this culture of encouraging product ideas. We have a channel in our Slack called product ideas, and anyone anywhere can put an idea in there. And the first thing about doing that kind of creative exercise is like, there are no bad ideas. So just put it down. I mean, the truth is there are bad ideas, but even within a bad idea, there's a germ of a good idea.
Yeah.
So, and that you don't even know how that might be used down the line. So it's all there. We read them all, and we turn it into and shape it into features that come along. And they might not come along for a year or two, but they all get kind of integrated somehow.
Okay.
So we have that, and also I think we're probably unusual as a product team. We're kind of central, so we get all the business requirements, and you get the customer requirements, and we do regular customer calls as well. So we're talking directly to the people who use the software every day, having an honest conversation about them, and we never mind bad feedback. It doesn't matter to us. It's like, just tell us what you want.
Okay.
And then you kind of look at the consensus of where things are, and you identify, we should really be doing this. We're totally missing this thing here. We need to switch over to that and make that happen for people.
Okay.
So I guess the biggest theme is about being flexible, not being rigid in your thinking. I'm probably answering lots of different questions here, but one key bit I think is sometimes we get people saying, what's your 5-year roadmap?
Yeah.
And it's like, it's really hard to have a 5-year roadmap. We might think in terms of like a 3-year or a 1 year. But again, you have to have that flexibility to know that down the line some technology might come along that you don't know about, and you've got to be able to jump on that as quickly as possible.
Yeah.
Because it could be, the game changer, basically.
That's what I was just going to mention. So when it does come to this, we just touched around, for example, generative AI. And this is a trend now. I say it's a trend because it's part of everyone's day-to-day activities, whether that's work-related or personal. So I'm just interested to know how much of a role that played in when it came to implementing some of these features of the application.
It's been huge. It's been the biggest kind of unanticipated change I've ever known, I'd imagine. In terms of revolutionary technology, it's huge. Our research team, we have a small research team internally who are always looking at what's coming along. And they were on this very early and telling us, we need to get on this. So then as a product team, we'd say, right, you go and test some things, go and prove it to us. And then they go and prove it and make little apps on the side to test things out. And then we start bringing those features forward one thing at a time. And what you find is when you're on the cutting edge of stuff of that, especially in a big company, you're kind of paving the way. So you've got to jump through all the legal hoops as well.
Yeah.
You've got to anticipate how people might be using it and do it really incrementally. It's tempting to dive in and just do everything, but I think we've done it the right way. We've done like one feature at a time.
Okay.
And are slowly building it out to all this kind of where it's becoming even more useful. What we haven't done is made it the whole product. I think the mistake you could make, and some people do, is like, I love ChatGPT, that's our product now.
Yeah.
But we've made it like a sub-feature. It's just a feature of what we're already doing. It complements like predictive maintenance. There are things it can do. It's really good at like analyzing data and looking for patterns, analyzing what our users have added and being able to extract useful kind of human readable information out of it. But it's not the whole product.
Yeah.
One thing I always thought was like, a prompt is not a product. Like if you just see a prompt and you're expecting people to ask it questions, it's like you haven't really done any work. You're kind of using ChatGPT, and if ChatGPT went away, you no longer have a product. You know what I mean? Whereas if ChatGPT went away for us, we'd still have the product we established over 10 years.
So if we look at ChatGPT and Senseye as in the application, I think it's beneficial in ways where it can help to support and track issues with machines and assets. But as you mentioned, it's not something that we're heavily reliant on. We can still have the Senseye application because you can still have human interaction with that.
Yeah, and we've always been based around, it was always based on machine learning, which was the old-fashionable name for AI.
Yeah.
And then Gen AI is kind of the next thing that's come along. But what it's really good at is, we're good at operating at scale.
Yeah.
So like you might have a small number of users in a factory, but they're dealing with so much data. Like the amount of data we deal with every day is just unbelievable. And you might only have a team of like 3 maintainers. There's no way you could look at all of that data manually. So you got the machine learning doing the heavy lifting, and then the Gen AI on top of that analysing all the historic stuff and looking for patterns that we previously couldn't have spotted. And saying, well, this is happening now, and the last time this happened, you did this, and the time before that, you did this.
Yeah.
And then it's encouraging more human input, which is what I've always wanted, is because the more human feedback you get, because it's very good at doing kind of sentiment analysis, understanding the tone of what people add, you see that coming back out of it again. And once customers see that, I think you want to add more and more. And we're beginning to see it more and more now with the knowledge building side of thing. So that's a term we've come up with, is like adding your own knowledge and documents and files into the system, and then having them interpreted by the Gen AI to help you understand the machines better. And it's all about kind of customize. It's like the ultimate customization for them, really.
Yeah.
And it's made us more of a platform, I guess, really. So all within this secure environment. So we're thinking they might have operational procedures that are common across like the whole factory. So within the app, you can put those documents in there, and then it filters through everything. And then when they're looking at a particular machine, they should say, how should I operate this? And it will know that document's there, and it will give you a summary back from it. And really importantly, it will always like reference where it's come from, which is a huge thing. You can see people coming reliant on like ChatGPT output without knowing its provenance. Like, where did this come from? They'll just believe it. But we can't do that in an operational world, because there might be we have to be very careful with like safety and things like that. We're not going to tell people to do anything that might be dangerous. We're incredibly careful about those things. So we'll always tell you where it's come from. So you've got the operational side, but you've also got, the individual machines. This, you add that information in there, and rather than having to go and look up the manual manually, you can just ask it, and it'll tell you what you need to go and do. Yeah. So, and that's the real growth, I think. That's the next thing we're seeing. And you've seen these features in lots of software now. These are becoming kind of core standard features. It's not really a differentiator for some people, because it's just going to become expected.
Yeah.
Even like normal day-to-day office users, you're expected to be able to do these things. So we have to support those technologies now. But then think about how it really works for our product.
Yeah.
And we've just come out with those kind of features recently, so people will be able to upload whatever files they want and choose to add it to the Copilot effectively and make it accessible. So it's still in their power to choose what they want to do. And now we're excited to see what they actually go and do with it.
Yeah, exactly. Well, this is it. It's aligned with how, current trends are with AI. And you mentioned around the Copilot, so within Senseye and the application. And it's interesting because, speaking to customers and users, they seem to be more inclined by just asking, the Copilot information about what's going on with their assets. And I think maybe one reason for that is because it's so intrusive and it's so quick to get a response. So
yeah, it's very quick. And the interesting side, again, is the human angle. One reason we wanted to do this kind of knowledge side of thing was we noticed a trend that there's aging workforces within our customers. You've got very experienced engineers kind of aging out of the workforce, so they're retiring, and they've got 40, 50 years of knowledge that we need to capture and pass on to the younger generations. And this is like an amazing way to do it.
Yeah.
And then the complement to that is you've got the younger workforce coming on board who don't have that experience, but they know about these technologies. So they understand these new interfaces better than the older workforces. So they will start kind of educating the people above them and how to use these things. So it's funny because you get sometimes that resistance when you put like a prompt in. You can ask it questions and stuff, and there's a bit of grumpiness there. And yet the younger people would be like, oh, yes, I do this all the time. It's fine. And then they'll start passing that back on. And then it all starts to kind of cycle around a bit. And now they're asking, like, can you do video as well? Can you extract transcripts from video? Can you do translation and all these kind of things? So it's amazing side of things. And like that localization thing, like I said, we've got customers all over the world. And we support, I think, 12 languages in the app now, which is a part you kind of sometimes forget about. So the way you write things becomes important. It needs to work in all those languages.
Yeah.
And you almost get it for free with that ChatGPT integration as well. So it will automatically translate things for you as well, which is it's kind of a superpower. It kind of bridges some barriers. We've got big multinational companies where that can be an issue. We're still quite a small team in some ways. You can't necessarily expect to support all those languages, but we can kind of inherently do it now.
Yeah.
So it's scaled us even more, I think.
Exactly. I think that's a huge benefit as well. If you think about, all the industries that we work in and, like Senseye is on a global scale, it's quite beneficial to have that, because we have to bear in mind that English is not someone's first language. So having that availability within the application does make it easier, because you've got this flexibility, going back to this flexibility and understanding your machines and assets, and having it in different languages definitely helps.
What's amazing is you got like the formal language, which is in the documents.
Yeah.
And then we've got the informal language, which is written by users. And, that might be formal, but sometimes I've seen like slang terms for machines creep in, because that's what people use. And then the Copilot will use those to learn that that's the term for that machine and use it back to people. And that's kind of fascinating.
Yeah.
So when users notice that, they're like, oh my God, it's using the term I use for that machine. And that's kind of an unanticipated like bonus. But again, it's all about encouraging people to use it as much as they can and really get the benefits of it. So they kind of bridge that gap in their mind. They're like, oh, this is really listening to me and understanding what we're doing.
Well, that's it. It's that, like you mentioned, just listening to me. So making it more of a personalised experience. I feel like, like I said, ChatGPT just with anything has pros and cons. But within this application, referring to key terms or slang terms, and for the Copilot to then pick that up, you kind of think to yourself, oh, hang on. It's actually listening to what I'm saying, and it's recording the information that I've shared.
Yeah, and historically that stuff's really complicated.
Yeah.
Because you might have really strict like naming conventions for your machines, which companies do. So you might have like a 20-digit alphanumerical name plus something like this and plus something on the end, but we also call it this.
Yeah.
And it will understand all of that. But that's the kind of institutional knowledge that you would have otherwise lost from those people aging out the workforce. But if you kind of capture it in place, you can pass it on and understand it. So it's just, those are unanticipated things, I think. That's the real benefits to it. But a key part is like it's not going to do everything. We're just doing like feature at a time, because the one thing you see is when you see like a prompt, like if I could ask it anything, but that you can also be paralyzed by that. Like, I don't know what can I ask it? I don't know what to ask it. So, and if you ask it something and then it kind of can't answer it, then you've lost them. So in terms of user experience, we've been very careful to manage that. The broader ChatGPT will just answer everything, obviously, but within our use case in predictive maintenance, obviously we've turned off the less relevant things and made it very specific to the tasks in front of us. We don't want people going off and doing things they shouldn't do, but also mindful of the secure environment we need to operate in. Yeah. But again, they need to know what I can ask it and what response I can get. So that's what we're kind of managing, and then eventually build out all those features to what we call an app-wide Copilot, where it will know what you're looking at, it will know everything you've done and all that kind of stuff. But it'll take a little while. Yeah, no, of course. I think in terms of like technical terms, when it does come to predictive maintenance and having that Copilot, like I said, it's great because it's essentially, providing information in simplistic terms. So I feel like, when it does come to this whole topic, it is not as straightforward. So having the ability to ask a question, and I would say, no question is a stupid question. It's good to have that so they can understand exactly what's going on with their cases and assets and why is the machine failing, to have that education. And I think ultimately it comes back to this whole, Senseye Predictive Maintenance as an application is this knowledge builder, it's education, it's providing the knowledge to our customers so they can understand what's going on. And also having that
human interaction, which is part of it as well.
Yeah, we've always pitched it as like decision support.
Yeah.
So, people worry about AI or whatever taking over, but end of the day, someone's going to go and manually fix a machine. They're going to change a gearbox. They're going to swap this bit for this bit. They're going to swap the oil. Those manual tasks aren't going anywhere. So the best we can do is guide them to do that quickly and effectively and in the right place at the right time. And this works well for that. So you have to kind of, the decision remains with the human. Hopefully we want that to remain for a long time, especially for us, but in broader uses of that kind of technology, I think that needs to stay in place for a long time.
Yeah.
It's complementary, and then you decide what to do with that information. And obviously that will all get better over time, but that's the core thing that people need to do. And we always think about, the guys on the shop floor doing the jobs, limited numbers of people to do things. You want to not waste their time in the day.
Yeah.
We're always talking about, let's just not waste their time. So they might have half an hour in the morning to use the application, and then they're done, but they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
And we're not trying to make them use the app more. We're just trying to use that half an hour window the most effectively they can.
Yeah.
If they get the most out of it, then we're kind of winning. So that's how we think about it.
Yeah, exactly. And, improving efficiency, essentially.
Yeah.
Time is valuable, so we want to make sure that they're utilising the time correctly. And like you said, they can check on that application, see what's going on, understand the issues, and, get on with the day.
And it's kind of funny. I was trying to think about it, because we have one product, and it's like, people are like, is it quite tricky working on one product all the time? And it can be sometimes, because you think, gosh, are we just going to make this one thing forever? But then you look back from where we came from, and it's a completely different thing.
Yeah.
And because we're constantly iterating on it, it's constantly evolving. It's like a Porsche 911, I think. It's like you could buy a Porsche 911 from the 60s.
Yeah.
And you can buy one now, but they're a very different thing. But the core thing still remains, and the core experience is still the same. But we've built out so much on top of it.
Yeah. I think it's just that roadmap to efficiency.
Yeah.
Still the same product. We're essentially making it easier, making it more simpler.
Yeah, efficiently. And, some big emphasis in terms of things we're working on now and in the near future is helping people to scale.
Yeah.
Or giving them an easier way into the app as well. Maybe they don't even have data. Maybe they don't even have sensors yet. It's like, how can they get value out of the app? Which is where the knowledge side of things works. It's like, you might not have got to the point where you've got a predictive maintenance strategy in your factory, but you're considering it. It's planned, but it's not quite yet. But you could still use the app. You can still add your documents and start fleshing out what it can look like for you and still get some output from it.
Yeah.
You might not have even had those documents in one place before. We know how companies work. You might have some on OneDrive over here. You might have them here. Someone's kept stuff on their hard drive. Just giving people one place for things is an amazing thing. When we first started, companies were saying, I've never seen my data in one place. So just that alone is a huge thing. We've never looked at these charts like this before. We've never had all of these people in the same place looking at the same things at the same time.
Yeah.
Regardless of what the software is doing on top of that, it's like just having the data and the documents there is like a huge thing. So we're looking at these different angles for people to kind of get into it.
I think having it all in one place is definitely the way forward. If we think from a perspective of us as day-to-day individuals, we use our smartphones and we've got various different applications for different purposes. You've got one for banking, one for shopping, supermarkets. So it's the same analogy for the Senseye application. Having that app on your phone to check what's going on and having it all in one place makes it so much easier. From a user perspective, people don't want to look in different locations. I need to open that and then I need to open this, and having it in one place just helps.
Yeah, and the one thing that complements that is we find a lot of people still have a very email first workflow. Probably because it's the one thing that's constant for them. Whatever they're doing, regardless of the software that comes and goes, they've always got reliable email. So when we, going back to where we're talking about that new homepage thing, building in kind of email reporting is still a huge part of that as well. So making it easy for people to configure things the way they want and get emails about it probably every day or weekly, whatever they want. And then that gives you a different kind of way into the app. Because the first thing in the morning they might do is just open their email.
Yeah.
They might not want to jump into the full application, and yet it's still giving them some value. So we're always asked about email stuff, and we do support that as much as we can. We're trying to standardize that and make it a kind of a broader experience. You just got to understand how people do stuff in the real world,
Yeah.
Like, well, you can just open the app and do this. And they're like, no, I'm in email, so please, can you help me with this thing?
Yeah. I think it's just a natural way, isn't it? In terms of emails, everyone seems to wake up in the morning, first thing you do, you might have a coffee, sit down in front of your laptop, and what do we do? Check our emails first. So it's nice that we have that reporting available within the application. And this takes me on to my next question around reporting capabilities.
Mm-hmm.
So it would be really great for you just to define what that is for our audience who don't know too much about that, but, advancements which have been made to that.
Yeah, reporting. Well, people have some like top level KPIs they're interested in. They want to know. So within our world, they might want to know if they've just got started on a project, like how many assets are in the application, how many sensors are there, are they all sending data, how much data are they sending, how many issues have we got, how is this trending over the last few months, are we responding to things?
Yeah.
That's about 8 things, and they want to say each of them in a nice chart, and be able to look at that maybe every day visually. So they want to do things visually, but they also want to export all the data and put it into other bits of software and do other analysis on it. So those are the core things. And they might have even built their own little side bits of dashboarding software. So something like Power BI. We do this ourselves as well. So Power BI, which is a raft of things to look at. And the goal for us now is to bring all of those, understand which of those things are important for everyone, and bring them into the application itself.
Okay.
And then you can choose to put them in front of you. So it's being able to track trends over time in how the project is going, how the machines are going, and importantly, the human angle is like how their teams are working as well.
Yeah.
Like, are they using this app? Is this app worth our money? Are we getting enough return on our investment? What's the benefits we're getting? They don't want long reports on it. They just want a single page with all these charts on it, and they can export the data, or they can configure emails about them.
Okay.
So it's that kind of thing, that kind of managerial level, just keeping an eye on things, but doing it in a quite low maintenance way.
Yeah.
And that's something we'll keep building out, basically, by listening to people.
Yeah. I was going to say, I think maybe the best way to describe it, it's essentially an overview of what's going on.
Yeah.
And you mentioned around Power BI.
Mm-hmm.
Is that something which is a plug-in to the application?
No, it's a separate part of software, but it highlights why we need this kind of stuff in there.
Okay.
Like, the licenses are expensive. If we've got reports in Power BI, it's not that easy to share them with other people.
Right, okay.
And vice versa. They might be using platforms that don't integrate. But it's about identifying what the need is. It's like, I want to see this KPI, I want to see it tracked over time.
Okay.
And it's like, well, we can do that. We've got all that information in the app, so we will build that in. So this new dashboard we've got, that's what we're actively asking people now. It's like, what kind of things do you want to see? And we'll go and make that, and then you can choose to arrange, it's fully customizable.
Yeah.
You'll be able to put that on there and see it, and then you don't need this other bit of software anymore.
Okay.
So that's the goal, really. User need is always the thing
that's
from my
it.
perspective.
And in terms of the data that we've got on those reporting capabilities, so this dashboard, is that data real-time data?
Yeah, I mean, we get data from, the data is constant from all these sensors that's coming in, over different time periods, but it's very, very fast, basically. And then that enables us to also look backwards and give you the trend view over the last 12 months. Like our default view for things is like last 12 months. So you can see what's going on, how much work's been done, all that kind of thing, what kind of cost savings. But it's a constant stream. It's like 24/7 data, basically.
Data's getting pumped through.
Yep.
And do you find any trends when it does come to users reviewing their, dashboards? I guess my question's more around how frequently, because if they've got access to the application, then they can essentially check that every day. But do you, from your perspective, are there checkpoints that you have with customers who would maybe want to have a look every quarter?
No, people use it constantly, I'd say. You have more the management level people maybe use it kind of weekly, but there's people using it every day because they need to go and plan the work they need to do today.
Yeah.
So they're like the guys on the ground. Then you've got the management level, and maybe there's a level above that as well who are looking at the longer term trends, or interested in how their team are using things, how much time they're spending doing stuff, and then kind of balancing all that out.
Yeah. I was going to say more focused around long-term trends.
Yeah.
And also, like I said, this topic, probably said it so many times on this episode around improving efficiency.
Yeah.
But, at least you've got more of an understanding of what the team focus is, maybe where the time could be pushed and spent.
Yeah,
more.
I mean, efficiency is the cool thing because everyone's pushed, everyone's cut for time, especially in manufacturing industries. It's always complex. It's always kind of an up and down. You've got your high points where you've got orders coming in, and then you have the low periods. So their workforce might be changeable, and we've got to support that kind of core need to just make things better constantly. That's never going to change, I don't think. All these companies are looking for efficiencies. And I'm quite shocked how small some of the teams are and quite what they can achieve.
Yeah.
They might be responsible for thousands of machines all at once, which seems quite an overwhelming thing, but hopefully it's something we help with.
Yeah. Well, definitely around the scaling topic. So that's something where we've seen, obviously, customers that have come on board and they're looking at the next step or next stage when it comes to scaling, and we can definitely support with that.
Yeah, so you've got scaling within the same factory. So you might start it on one particular line and then go to another one, or even a different department that's got completely different machines. It's about establishing like the best practice.
Yeah.
So if you get one factory established, they've jumped through all the hoops, you've worked out all the best sensors, you've got all the best data coming through, we've got the best analytics running on it, we've configured all of that, and everything's kind of, you reach this status quo. Once you've got that, that's your template. And if you've got those factories kind of everywhere in the world, that means it's lower friction to get those factories up and running.
Yeah.
So that when we talk about scaling, that's what we mean. It's all of those levels. So these big multinational companies with hundreds of factories all over the place, that's where the benefits come in, because you put the cost into the first factory rollout, and then the next ones get easier to do.
Yeah, well, that's it. It's this around ROI. So once individuals start to see that return on investment, and sometimes people do want to see it very quickly. When it does come to predictive maintenance, it does take a lot longer and it takes that time. But once they start to see the results, then it's looking at other locations where they can scale their current deployments. Yeah,
and again, we talk about the knowledge. It's all about sharing that knowledge. And again, adding knowledge into the system is huge, and then sharing that across all of those sites as well. If you've got a best practice, you can then share it, globally.
Yeah.
And that's the true benefits of scale. And I'd say that's return on investment, I would hope. If I was them, that's what I'd be looking for. It's like, we don't want to just do it different every single time. We need to know what sensors to use. We need to know how this is all going to work. And, we've got a lot of experience in doing that now.
Yeah. No, exactly. Key trends, assets, and understanding the data. I think that's what it is. And then, looking forward into how that can be implemented across other plants.
Yeah.
So that takes me to my next question around this knowledge builder. And I'm really excited to ask questions around what that means exactly, the current kind of advancements to the feature that we have within that application.
Yeah, well, a lot of it's about just supporting the kind of files that people want to upload, which seems relatively straightforward, but there's some complexity there. So we're just building out support for both like Office files,
Okay.
like Word documents and that kind of thing. We've done PDFs historically, but you have to bear in mind that when you upload it, the Copilot's analysing it and it understanding of everything that's in those files. And some are easier than others. The trickiest one, strangely, is Excel, which is, most companies run on Excel, so it's something you need to support. But an Excel file can contain all kinds of stuff. It could just be a simple table, could have images, someone could have put some kind of programming in there, could have all kinds of stuff in there. So that's like the harder nut to crack.
Yeah.
But gradually building out support for all of those, so you can just be able to interpret anything that's been updated. And alongside that, even like things like text files. So even if you've got information that's kind of in weird places, you could combine it and just dump it all into a text file.
Okay.
And say, go and learn from this. Then you can put that file anywhere as well and say that might contain like a useful thing, like a glossary of terms. Like we said about those machines having these long names officially, but we call it this. You could put that in there and you can train your own kind of Copilot and how to understand what's what. It goes, yes, it's called this, but we call it this. Or this is called this, we call it this. And you'll see those answers come through. So there's a lot to do there.
Yeah. And do you feel, so when it comes to driving this feature essentially and, making it happen as such in terms of this, now we have this knowledge builder, do you feel a lot of that was kind of taken from user feedback that we had?
Oh, there's definitely a need for it, yeah.
Okay.
You see this with, like previously we added like app mentions, which is quite a common feature for a lot of software, like people wanted to talk to each other in the app. And we saw that by them just adding names in and expecting it to do something. So they were trying to use it before it existed.
Okay.
And that tells you what to do. But yeah, we definitely had it. People would say, oh, really good if I could put a machine manual in here and then ask it about what I can do. It goes, oh, that would be so good. That would be as soon as we talked about Copilot stuff, people were asking for stuff like that.
Okay.
So it's a natural response. And then they're going, oh, I could do this with it. I could do this with it. I've got these documents ready. I've been testing. Can you test this for us? Then the feedback starts coming in, and you're on the right tracks.
Okay. So yeah, it's a mix. I think it's maybe the natural step in terms of developing what we currently have, and making it easier and simple.
And we'll see these use cases emerge. So we're just providing a way for people to upload things, and then we'll see the types of things they upload and how they use, the kind of conversations they've had. And again, you've got that, you'll start establishing a best practice, because we don't know yet. This technology is so new. These use cases are still emerging. We don't know what's going to come. So we just have to put the things in place and then track what's been done with it, and that shapes the features that come along. And you see it everywhere. There's a lot of stuff that's the products is not particularly good, and then these the winning ways of doing things will emerge, and then people will build products around that. We haven't seen any good like hardware products with Gen AI in them yet, but they'll be coming down the line.
Yeah,
people are thinking about this constantly, and that will solve problems we didn't even know needed solving. It's probably going to be the exciting products, I'd say.
Yeah, which is it's just development, isn't it? So, I mean,
but you can't do it in a bubble. This is what I was saying about the user
it.
stuff. You have to constantly listen.
Yeah, I feel like until a problem occurs, that's when you maybe think about a solution and how that fits in. But the natural step within the application, it's just key developments. And I think the good thing about the development of this product would be that we really do listen to our users and take into account, what's going to make it easier for them.
Yeah, I always say the worst feedback is no feedback. So if you release something and you think, oh, we've worked on this for ages, it's really good, and we've done the big marketing campaign, it's brilliant, and you just get crickets, that's just like the worst possible outcome. I'd rather release something and you've got people going, this doesn't work, this is rubbish, because then you know what to go and build.
Yeah.
You get nothing. You don't know what to build anymore. You just got it completely wrong.
And it's everyone's opinions are valued. So, for example, I might see something that you haven't seen.
Yep, absolutely.
And, looking at it from a different perspective definitely helps.
Yeah, I love it. When we have new starters, we're like, here's the app, here's how you use it. Can you please go and tear it apart for us?
Yeah.
It's like, that's your first job, because we look at it every day and we're blind to things, completely blind to stuff. And they'll go, why does that do that? And you're like, oh, yeah, that's a good point. It's been there for 10 years, but yeah, you're right. It shouldn't do that. We'll do something else. It's brilliant.
It just helps you just to understand it just from a different
perspective. Yeah, you can't. There's no ego in it.
And there's no kind of right or wrong answer. It's fine, just with anything, you have to test it. We have to go through this process of testing, getting feedback, going through the process of what we need to prioritize, what should be done first, that whole implementation process. And then also, like, post implementing, it's still that user feedback. If something can be better, that's fine. It's not, there's nothing wrong with that.
Yep. Can't live it. Yeah, you can't live in a bubble.
Yeah, exactly.
Has to be out there, and it goes beyond the product team. It goes from everyone. Everyone feeds in, all the teams from all nationalities. And like I say, you'll get international requests that you hadn't even considered, or issues come up you hadn't even thought about.
Yeah. That
you need to jump through. Whether it's legal side of things, like certain countries will let you do certain things, other countries don't. So we have to make sure we're doing the right things legally as well. So
I think that's the other part of it, actually. So regulation and compliance.
Oh yeah, and like some countries are further ahead than others in terms, especially with the Gen AI stuff, which is it's all new. They don't necessarily have the policies there, so they'll be like, no, you can't do that. So you have to anticipate, you have to prepare that some places won't be able to use all the features.
Yeah. But
you kind of want them to, so we have it ready and waiting for them when they are ready to do stuff.
Okay.
But that's the benefits of being within a big company, when you've got a big legal department who deal with all these countries all the time and know what we need to do to get those features out. Because there's no point developing anything if legally you can't release them.
Yeah, exactly.
That's a really interesting angle that I didn't quite anticipate, and it's quite nuanced as well, what you can do and can't do.
Yeah. Well, it goes back to development of the application, like you mentioned, around translations that we have in different languages. With that, we do have a very global customer base.
Yep.
And it's interesting, actually, when we go into this topic around compliance and regulation, sometimes you're oblivious to it. You don't really think about it because you're just focused on the application itself. But at the same time, you kind of want everyone to be able to...
Yeah, we're kind of oblivious until someone says, no, you can't do that.
You can't do it.
It's like a hard
exactly.
stop. There doesn't seem to be much between it. And then you're like, oh, we need to find a way through this.
Yeah.
And develop new policies to get us in these spaces.
Yeah, exactly. And I just wanted to just touch into the get help element that we have within the Senseye application. So, how does that link into the knowledge builder?
Well, yeah, the new thing we've done now, so on that homepage where there's a little help thing, is we've integrated with our help center.
Okay.
So that's all manually written. I write all the help articles, which is a nice kind of end-to-end thing. It's like make the thing and then tell people how to use the thing. It's a nice kind of story to tell to people. But that's like hosted in a separate application. So as soon as within the app, as soon as you go to help, you've gone somewhere else. You don't really want that. You want to get the answer there and then. So that help feature is something we'll be expanding across the whole app. So you'll just go into the Copilot and ask it some questions like, what is this? And what's an asset? And like all the fundamental stuff. Yeah. And it will be able to search through the help content, summarize it for you, give you a quick response there and then, quick immediate response. But also, as we said, it will refer to where it's come from as well. So you'll have links to the articles that's got the information from. So it's all about expanding. Again, that's knowledge as well. When we talk about knowledge, it's like institutional knowledge from the customers. It's our knowledge. It's everything we've ever known about building the app, but not just building the app, but also how to have a successful implementation of it. We've got a whole kind of knowledge base for that kind of thing, which is now accessible through that Copilot.
Okay.
So all the projects that failed, all the hard lessons we've learned are kind of encoded in there now.
Okay.
Because it's hugely important. A project can live or die in the first couple of months. So you want some really good responses. You want people to understand how to use things immediately, as quickly as possible, which is not easy when behind the scenes, there's a lot of complexity. Setting up the data coming in is the biggest part, getting the right data, the right analytics set up. So anything that smooths that is a good thing. And that big story of connected knowledge, our knowledge, your knowledge, all in one place.
Yeah.
It's great. Backs up everything, really.
Yeah, exactly. I think the Knowledge Builder is fantastic. Really, really great resource to have. And, like I said, with that, working with the Copilot itself, users are more in control of their data, so they have more of an understanding, but also they have this resource available where it's easy for them to check.
Yeah, and it's the most important part is their data.
Yes.
So each instance, like each customer instance, is its own separate entity. So there's no bleed of information between accounts. It's all separate. Same for the Copilot instance as well. There's nothing going out to the internet. There's nothing shared between accounts.
Yeah.
So anything that is uploaded can be trusted and goes nowhere else. It's the first thing people ask, and it's the first thing we can answer as well, because it's incredibly important. And something that's probably a bit more neglected in the commercial world of Gen AI, where it's a bit fast and loose with copyright and things like that. So we are not doing that.
No, exactly. I think that's it. Just one key point that you mentioned, actually, just around having it private and confidential. That data is just for you and your assets and your deployments which are taking place.
Yep.
So I think
we do an awful lot. Even if users try adding their own personal information, it will ultimately get stripped out, because
really? Okay.
we have to protect all of that kind of thing.
Okay.
So we do a lot of stuff.
There's a lot of behind the scenes that needs to be done.
Yeah, data protection comes first. So.
Of course, yeah. And then leading on to one of the other features, Adam, so we've touched on quite a few advancements on the application. Just wanted to get some more information around the smart auto components. Number one, what is that, and how has that developed?
Yeah, it's probably something people see in our screenshots and things we put out, but this is our demo account that we have.
Okay.
So when people get the first look at what the product is, whether it's on our website or in-person demos, that's the account we use to show everyone. Okay. And we flesh that out with kind of all of the different industries we deal with. It's got all the features represented in there, and can be used internationally. Like I say, we've got all the translation in there. So it's like your first stop in what the product is. So I know we've done interactive demos now, haven't we? And that will be showing that account on there. So it gives representative assets. It gives you an idea of how the whole thing works and what all the features are. So it's it's kind of our safe place to show everything, really.
Yeah.
And we've always liked to show the product. We do obviously analyze our competitors and things, and you will often find you can't see the product. And we've always said, we need to show the product. We're confident. We know it works. And here it is out there in the wild.
Yeah.
These aren't mock-ups. This is the actual thing. And that should be a differentiator, I think.
Exactly.
It's quite shocking. You can honestly not find things, and they're like, "Oh, we do all this kind of stuff," and you're just like, "Please, can I just see it and use it?"
I think this is it. It's exciting because from my perspective, working with various different regions, you touched around the Senseye demo that we have, but this also links to the Novatic demo that we have, for example.
Yep.
So it's really great because I feel like from a sales perspective, talking to the business development teams, having that demonstration essentially helps to qualify the customer.
Yeah.
So it's more of a teaser into showing Senseye Predictive Maintenance, and this is the dashboard, and this is how you can check your use cases, and this is how you can look into your assets. But having that benefit is amazing.
Yeah, and the good thing is there won't be a jump when they actually use the real product.
They know what it is.
It's the same thing.
Yeah, exactly.
There's no kind of smoke and mirrors there. It's a very natural path towards them populating with all their data.
Yeah, and also having you've probably seen the videos of the Senseye or the Copilot in action. So for a customer to see that live in action, it's just like, wow.
Yeah, there's always some skepticism, I think, isn't there, that you're kind of faking it or something. But
Yeah.
we've always put it out there for real and do the live demos on live videos. I think the first use of it was a live demo in a Siemens event.
Yeah.
And it all works, but we've always been prepared to do that kind of thing.
Yeah.
Nothing scripted.
Yeah, exactly. Like I said, it's always amazing just to see how it works and to understand, the essentially asking a question and receiving a response, but not just any response. It's, simplifying and understanding the technical terms of what's going on.
Yeah.
So I think that's the beauty of it, and having that feature within that application is just great because it's aligned with current trends. And like I said, generative AI is a part of the application, but we're not focused on that to be the most important function within that application.
Yeah.
So like I said, again, improving efficiency.
That's the theme, I think.
Yeah, exactly. And how do you kind of think this really fits in with the predictive maintenance strategy? So the smart auto components of the demonstration.
Well, we talk about scale, but also the flexibility. I think we've become more of a platform now.
Okay.
When I said about all the industries, there's like so many different industries that we've tried to represent in that demo account. And I know we have customers in many different industries. We've always been quite agnostic to what the industry is and what the machines are, because the way we've constructed the technology is that it applies to like all machines.
Okay.
Which has been a huge part of it. It makes it more sellable and makes it more scalable. So it's like we don't have any pre-configured models of what the machines are. We learn from the data it receives.
Okay.
And that's like a core point of it. So it doesn't matter if you've got gearboxes or motors or robot arms or whatever. It'll just learn on the go. We have no preconception of what they are.
Yeah.
It will just purely be based on the data. So all of those industries, obviously some are more suitable for others, and it's entirely depending on the type of data that comes through. But that hopefully puts us in good stead. And from the redesign work we've done, it's definitely more platform based. It's more consistent experience across the whole app now.
Yeah. Okay, cool. That sounds good. I think it's nice to understand that from a strategy perspective of what the key benefits are and how it's actually supporting processes around different industries, different assets. And you mentioned around assets, that there's no kind of, we can't do this for the asset, I want to say. Like I said, in different locations, different plants, different factories, there will always be different assets which need to be monitored and different issues which need to be resolved.
Yeah, and some are more successful than others. But the biggest thing is if you've got a fleet of the kind of same type of asset, you'll get the best results. Like if you've got all these types of motors, you've got hundreds of motors, hundreds of gearboxes, drop lifters, whatever they are. If you've got lots of them, you'll get the best results because the system will learn from what happened over here might be happening over here, and you get this kind of, again, the knowledge base that builds up that can be shared across all those machines. So, and again, if you've got multiple factories, that knowledge can be shared across all of those as well.
Exactly.
So you just kind of constantly keep learning and learning.
Well, it links to scaling, doesn't it? So scaling your
it's the benefits of scaling. And you almost need failures as well. We need stuff to break in order to learn, if you know what I mean, or to anticipate them breaking. So if you've got a factory where everything's amazingly maintained and there's no failures, people go, your software doesn't do anything. And it's like, no, you're just doing a really good job, but we're still monitoring everything and something still could fail.
Okay.
But we almost people need to see a failure to understand how it works, which is quite an interesting concept. Whereas we're going out of our way to avoid failure.
Yeah.
It's like, we don't want your machines to fail. We want to anticipate everything that's going to happen so that it never happens for you.
It never happens, yeah.
So that's like your insurance policy, I guess.
Yeah, I like the way you put that. That's good. So what measurable benefits, have users experienced? And this could be, really high level. So maybe, if you've got a couple that you could just maybe share.
Well, a lot of customers, they always talk about downtime.
Okay.
Like scheduled, avoiding downtime was the thing we always started with, and that's still a big thing. So we have these success cases, like we spotted this thing, and that saved 16 hours of downtime, which means they didn't have to stop production. It means they didn't have to do emergency maintenance. None of that had to happen.
Yeah.
And each hour of that downtime, they'll have their own cost associated,
Okay.
which is likely in the thousands. So one single instance could pay for the whole application for the year, basically. So that's the kind of measurable success. And sometimes that happens very quickly. I think we had a customer recently who had that within the first 2 weeks of using the product. So you've effectively paid for it immediately.
Yeah.
That's the whole cost saved because you know what's the work that needs doing, but instead of having to stop production, you know the scale of the issue, so you can do the maintenance in a time that you'd already planned. Like, we're going to shut down at the weekend, so we'll just go in and change that gearbox.
Okay.
Rather than we need to do that right now because that bearing is going to explode. You know, that's the measurable difference. Those are the successes we're always looking for. Basically, it's entirely measurable. But also in terms of hours saved in labour as well is a big one. But also in kind of scaling the maintenance team, you know, their work, there might be a lot of stuff that they no longer have to do. They might decide that their maintenance intervals, they can extend them now because they've got this constant monitoring going on, and that they previously didn't. They might have done weekly inspections before. Yeah. You know, moving into this predictive way rather than a kind of preventative way of doing things. Or reactive. You're not just reacting to things happening all the time. You can plan it better. And that saves time, that saves money. So all of that's measurable, related to ROI, but also any important KPIs they've got.
Yeah. I think the other thing as well, just to mention, just around workforce and when it comes to travel costs as well. So I think across like different industries, different customers that we have, they've saved so much money on travel costs alone because they don't have to go to the factory.
Yeah, you can monitor it from anywhere. You might have had to send in specialist people to monitor things previously, but that can all be done remotely now.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, like we said earlier about having it all in one place, this is the real benefit of the application because you can track and see what's going on in real time, and it's just very quick to have on your smartphone to see. Yeah,
and the way we tend to set things up is like one customer, all their factories will be in the same account.
Yeah.
So you could share stuff like globally, or spot something in someone else's account that you're also responsible for, and begin to highlight things globally. Or you might identify an issue in one place of a particular, I always use gearboxes for some reason. This type of gearbox might have a manufacturing issue, and you know where you've got them, and you can head up that kind of quality issue as well. Yeah. So that's another side of it, the quality side of things, which you might not spot any other way.
Yeah.
And other things we've spotted are things like even environmental issues, like certain factories are in like quite, changeable climates.
Yeah.
You might have unexpected events, like we had one place we had a power surge. There was like a lightning strike on a transformer outside, shut down the line. Yeah. They didn't really know what had happened, but then they can go in and see where it affects and understand the impact of it like very quickly. And that's kind of things we never really anticipated.
That's it, yeah.
Ambient temperature changes. You might have a heat wave that affects everything, but you can see a shift in how all the machines are operating all at once, all in that one location. So that's kind of exposing things we never expected.
Yeah.
But it's also saved people. We've prevented, we've got case studies of preventing issues from occurring, like a leakage, for which the company would be liable to environmental fines, all that kind of thing. So it helps on that side as well.
Amazing.
So these are kind of secondary things that you can benefit from.
Yeah. I mean, it's also kind of thinking from a perspective of, like you said, about, anticipating changes. Is when it comes to environmental, these are kind of issues that we probably never imagined.
Yeah, there are some unanticipated changes. Yeah. Events you might not even see coming, but if you've got this network of connected devices, the whole Internet of Things, there's all kinds of benefits.
Yeah, exactly. Okay. Okay, Adam, so we're coming towards the end of this topic and episode, and I think it's been so great to share a lot of the advancements to the Senseye application and understanding how some of these features work. And what I wanted to do was just ask you if you had any final takeaways just to share with our audience today.
Yeah, well, we talked a lot about the knowledge side of things, and I don't know, as the more we talked about it, the more I realised how important a theme that is. And I think we always like to think of the human angle. People are worried about technology replacing people, but as we've seen, with an aging workforce, it's not about replacing people. It's actually just kind of continuing their kind of legacy in the workforce in a way. I've seen it myself from when I was in aerospace. I saw engineers, amazing engineers who could do stuff firsthand with a piece of paper, could work out amazing things about aircraft, and that knowledge, as soon as they retire, that's completely gone, and you'll never get it back. And I think that's quite a tragic thing to happen.
Yeah.
So to think that, we could help that would be really cool. And I think there's a lot of pathways that can go down that are really interesting if you get the right engagement and the right new people coming into the workforce with new ideas based on these new technologies. There's a lot of directions that can go in where, knowledge isn't a threat. It's really helpful. And a lot of the industries, we work with are quite threatened. We're always hearing about steel manufacturers needing support, or we still need these products.
Yeah.
So we need to support these industries as much as we can with that knowledge, and making sure those machines, which could be decades old, still can continue to operate. So I think that's quite a nice human story for this technology. And scale is always the huge thing we talk about, coming from a relatively small company and now into Siemens. Seeing the benefits of the technology at scale is where you can see real efficiencies. And we touched on the environmental side, which will only become more important in the next decade or so.
Yeah.
But also, some of these factories, we're moving to dark factories where there's not many people operating them, and you want machines just operating efficiently all the time and making the most use of their energy consumption as well. So it's all of these factors coming into it. So just understanding that Senseye as a platform, is really working to support those things, and is flexible. We're so flexible in the way that we develop things that even if another amazing technology comes around in the next few months, you can guarantee we'd be all over it, and we'd be incorporating it as well. Proving it first is the important part, but moving to incorporate that as we go. And the things we've been working on, all the Copilot stuff we talked about, that's not going to go away anytime soon. We're going to keep adding features and working out the best use cases for it that really support users. And we talked about feedback. We keep that loop, really make stuff to support what people need.
Exactly.
It's what are you missing? It's what questions are you asking? One good question is always what are you trying to do that you can't do? It's to find out where those pinch points are, and then put something in place where that just kind of goes away.
Yeah.
And then they'll have another set, and another set, and another set, but all the while we're improving things. So I think those are the key things, I think. Hopefully that's helpful for people.
Yeah, very helpful. And just on your final point around users are very integral to this process. Like I said, from where Senseye application was maybe a couple years ago to now, it's incredible, because it's definitely, like I said, we've touched on these two words, flexibility and efficiency. And I think that's what we will continue to do, aligned with trends and taking into account what users want and how we can support them.
Yeah, and supporting their needs globally as well. And as I said, understanding the nuances of language, understanding what's needed kind of internationally as well is a big part of that.
Yeah, perfect. Well, thank you so much for joining me on today's episode. It's been very insightful learning about the evolution of Senseye and how it's developed, and I'm looking forward to new advancements to the application. So actually, Adam, one final question, and it's an interesting one, and it's just taken into account previous episodes that I've done with various guests, and this question never seems to come up, so I'm going to ask you myself, and it's around, what is your favourite colour?
That was unexpected. I thought we were going to talk about machines or something. That's a funny one, isn't it? Weirdly, I'd say yellow, but not because I like wearing it. It's not a colour I actually use, but I really like it. I do a bit of landscape photography, and I'm also a little bit colourblind. So reds and greens kind of blend together, and greens and browns. So certain things aren't that meaningful to me. Like I was like in a big field of poppies, and I'm like, it's all right. I can't really tell the red that well. And people are like, this place is amazing. But then the other day I was in a field of sunflowers. I'm like, this is the best place ever. This is amazing. And it's because of my perception of colour. So that's quite interesting. And I look back at a lot of photos I've taken. I always like yellow. I like gorse flowers. I like daffodils and sunflowers and things like that. And I like contrast as well. So I'm going to say yellow for very personal reasons.
I was going to mention daffodils. Nice flowers.
Yeah, it's funny. It's funny. And there's kind of colours I will avoid as well. And the product we make is not a particularly colourful one, but there is some yellow in there.
A little bit.
There's a little bit.
Well, they say yellow is positivity.
Yeah, exactly. I associate with obviously spring and summer, which are the best times of the year. So lots of good things.
Oh, well, perfect. Thank you for sharing that. Thank you for watching this episode, and please like and subscribe to all major podcast channels. To find out more information, please visit siemens.com. Thank you.
Please like and subscribe on all major podcast channels, and find out more about Senseye Predictive Maintenance at siemens.com.